Hello and welcome to Adventures with Yufeng, where we explore new and interesting ideas, tools, and concepts. Today, while we're all working from home, it can be tough to get outside for a run. So today, we're going to go for a run in the cloud. Hello and welcome to Adventures with Yufeng. Today, my name is Yufeng Guo, and I am excited today to be joined by Dustin Ingram, a Google Cloud developer advocate who focuses on the Python community. How are you doing today, Dustin?
Hey, Yufeng. I'm doing good.
It's April 17th, Friday. Hope you're all staying well and staying safe out there. So today we're supposed to be looking at kind of using Cloud Run, doing serverless stuff. Dustin joins us from Austin, if I'm not mistaken. He's got his Austin
Yeah, that's
Public
right.
Library shirt on. And yeah, we're going to try to, what are we trying to build? We're trying to build a little
Yeah.
serverless web application.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and add some AI and ML a model. We're gonna try to deploy a model along
Yeah,
with it
we're
too.
going to try to fit in a model with that. I did some work kind of beforehand to make sure we had something there to call. So it'll be interesting to look at just how we can fit those two together. Using different cloud products, even though they're under the same GCP umbrella, is not always kind of a trivial thing. So that always kind of leads to interesting behaviors, let's call it. And
Yeah.
the kind of more general notion around this, I think, when I was thinking through this, was that we could actually broaden this down the road into something where we answer the question of how would you go about building a web application that can basically be a dashboard for what is happening behind the scenes for your custom workloads on GCP. In my mind, I'm thinking
Yeah.
about kind of running machine learning and data science workloads. How many machines do I have up running? What are my training jobs looks like? Where are the files moving around? And just having a progress meter on the tasks that I'm trying to execute. But that can be used more generically to build all sorts of stuff. And it seems like Cloud Run is a good fit for that sort of task.
Yeah, and there's like another problem that we're maybe gonna solve here too, which is that like if you have an application that depends on calling some machine learning models, like you want to be able to deploy changes to that application to the code without having to redeploy your whole
Right.
model, or you want to be able to change your model out from underneath your application. Like they shouldn't be so tied together. So I think like one thing I'd like to try to do is we have an application, we have a model, but they're not like just like tied together so strongly that we can swap in and out, do different
Yeah.
ones. And yeah, this comes from like I used to work as a software consultant and like actually worked for a company, and this was a huge problem. Like you never knew which model was in production. Like we didn't have a lot of like observability about which model we were using, and then like the deployment process was just so tied to like everything all together. And they actually had like multiple models in production too at the same time. So yeah, so maybe why don't you talk a little bit about where we're going to deploy this model and what we're going to use for that, and then maybe I can explain a little bit about what Cloud Run is and why that might be a good fit for us
Sure,
here.
yeah. So I'm going to switch us over to our kind of coding view, our editor view. And as a reminder to the folks joining us on the live stream, there is the chat over on this side of the window and down below, depending on how you have your browser sized. Say hello, let us know where you're tuning in from, and any questions you might have, things you want to see more of, less of, as we go along. So with that said, as for those of you who have been joining, last couple of times, we've been doing a lot of work in AI platform notebooks. Today is a little bit different, but at the same time, when I was setting this up, I did kind of do a number of things. From our previous session, I had figured out how to mount persistent disks properly, got all our data sorted out, and what I ended up doing was I pulled down a ResNet 50 model. Let's see if I can find the tab here. This is the checkpoint not the checkpoint, the actual exported saved model, and managed to deploy it successfully to AI platform notebooks as a specific model. We have it here, pre-trained image classifiers, GPU, ResNet. I'll explain this 4-letter acronym in a second, and JPEG. So what this means is it is a GPU model of the ResNet, or the residual networks structure. NCHW is the number of per batch. C is for channel. H and W are height and width of the image that's being passed. So these are image classifiers, and the JPEG part just means that this model is intended to take a JPEG image, not raw bytes or TF records. So it actually simplifies our kind of work a little bit, because we'll be able to directly call this endpoint with an image. Though it's not completely just straight up an image. It does need to be 64-bit encoded, but at least we don't have to convert it into a TF record, which would require us to load in additional libraries, specifically TensorFlow, which can be a little heavier. So if you're in a more limited environment, a 64-bit encode is a little bit easier to pull off. Yeah.
And so what are we going to get out of this? We're going to
Yes. What are we going to get out of this? I was really sweating over this this morning when I was playing around with this. I was like, okay, there's one final thing I need to do, because when I tried this out, okay, you can see it here in this was the output when I called the endpoint, right? And I called
a lot of
numbers.
Small numbers.
They're actually small numbers. It's e to the negative something, and it's because this model outputs. This particular model was trained to classify between 1,000 different classes. So it's one of those big image models, and the output, it outputs what class it is, and then the probabilities for each of those 1,000 classes. So these numbers are virtually meaningless. The only thing I can think of using this for would be to grab the 208th, in this case, value in order to see what its kind of, confidence is. But really, I just only care about this number. But then the problem was, what does that number mean? Like just what is it?
That corresponds to like some things classified in the image.
The hunt for what that thing was surprisingly difficult. I really thought it was going to be really straightforward. Like I was hoping I could load in a list, and then I was just going to stick in an array and be done with it. So I, after some searching, did eventually find the relevant file. It happened to just be a straight text file, no numbers. And I was like, oh, I hope this is in order. And it's, for those who are curious, it came from here. So this is the ResNet 50 model trained on ImageNet. And so the TF Hub has all sorts of models. This is the particular one that we grabbed. And down below, you can see, kind of not so conspicuously, is the ImageNet labels.txt file. And so if you click on that, that's what gets you this raw straight up text file. So I downloaded this file, put it into my notebook. It's somewhere around here. It's right here. It's right in the same directory. And I read it open, and this is not the one. This is the one. I took the text file here. Yeah.
The $1 million question is this zero indexed, or?
Oh yeah, exactly. So I was playing around with that as well, because like some of these images, I wasn't using the images from the training set, obviously. So I was just pulling random images from the internet, and the labels for this, even though you would think that with 1,000 labels you'd be able to have pretty clear, specific labels, it's not all the time. Or I just am terrible at picking images. That's also very possible. Finally, I got a good clean image, in this case of golden retriever puppy. And I had all these sorts of other ones. I'll show you later if you want to see them. Because one was just a flower. It was just a straight up tulip. And it was just like, the prediction was literally, it was greenhouse. I was like, but like, I didn't know if it was right. Like that was the real problem. Was it just a lucky guess that the indices happened to line up? Because I did like +1, -1 just to see what was around that area. So that was a mess. But yeah, I read in the files. I stuck it into an array, so I have this class array, and confirmed that it was the right length. It's supposed to be 1001 for some reason. I'm really not sure what that extra one is for. Maybe the 0th one is just a placeholder or something. And it turns out could be like it's one indexed. And so the 0th one isn't meant to be something, or maybe they used the 0th one and they left the last one blank. It's unclear to me why it's set up that way. But yeah, it came out as golden retriever. That was the moment when I was like, okay, we definitely did it right, because
It
Yeah,
works.
because if you, oh, well, here's the thing. Labrador Retriever is +1, and the one before that is curly. But the image is supposed to be a golden retriever. So it's like, I don't know if I just like randomed it.
Yeah, how well does it know it's
Yeah,
dogs?
yeah, it
Yeah,
really
let's
knows it's
see.
dogs. That's the general conclusion. Because there was this image, which was one that really threw me for a loop. So I'll show it to you here. Image. Ah. Okay, so the way I was setting this up was, yeah, I just wanted to see the image. So it's this really awkward shaped building that you can imagine, if not zoomed to the right level, could be completely misinterpreted as like any number of things.
Yeah. What is
Yeah,
that?
exactly. It is I think it's a building. It actually might not be a building. I might just be making things up. And this is a little function to encode it to base64. I should run it. And then the path of that base64 encoded file, I output to an environment variable. This way I can call it in this bash script right here.
Okay.
And then what we'll actually have to do is write Python code to do what this does, right? So that we can actually grab the output properly rather than kind of hacking it together the way I have here when I was just testing. And we run this, you get class 443, right? Which I also have encoded as code to be able to grab that from the file directly, which I thought might be a useful thing at some point. So with class 443, it says it's a bell cote. Cote spelled C-O-T-E.
I don't know what that
Neither
is.
do I. Let's find out. This is what a bell cote is. So-
Okay. Oh, it's the thing that holds the bells.
So
Okay.
it's kind of a
Maybe.
maybe. I give it a maybe because at the time this was what somehow ended up being the first image I looked at, which was hilarious, right? Because then I was like, okay, -1. Oh, it says beer glass. I don't know how I feel about that. What about this way? Oh, it's a bib. Well, that doesn't seem quite right either. So it was a real trial and error, whodunit kind of thing. So that, yeah,
So
the moral of the story
there's
is know what your labels are.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised there's 1,000 things this could be, and bell coat is one of them.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
that's
oddly
such a
specific
common thing we want to
while at the same
Yeah.
time being oddly like random, right? It has all these different breeds of
modeled.
specific dogs, but then when I put in a picture of a flower, it's like, oh, I think it's a greenhouse. It's like, what? You don't have any flowers? So yeah,
Interesting.
ImageNet is a funny data set. Let's see. That's the majority of it. If you want to see what I ran in order to get that model up on there, it was this command here. This is gcloud AI platform versions create. I am using the beta version of the command because I wanted to include a GPU on there. And so you can see here I've specified the GPU somewhere. Here it is, GPU type Tesla T4. And it's
Cool.
using the new kind of just generic virtual machine GCE VM types rather than before it used to be like t-shirt sizes, like literally small, medium, or large, which mapped to GCE VMs, but they just, yeah, that's what they went with. And let's see. Let me adjust the sound a bit here. Okay, and then yeah, you can specify Python and TensorFlow versions. It can probably up those to 7 and 15, but
Is runtime version here? That's the TensorFlow version?
it happens to correspond to that. But it actually really is a runtime where it's a bunch of Python libraries put together to kind of all working together in the relevant what's the word? Compatibility, right? So runtime version list, you can see for each runtime kind of release, like this is 2.1, which maps to TensorFlow 2.1, but also a bunch of other PyPy packages at various specific version numbers, as well as Python versions.
Gotcha. And like distro packages.
So
too.
here's 1.5. Here's the 1.4 I was using. So it specifies these three, and then there's more here. You can expand this list, and we can see, all the specific versions that it is tied to, including, everything from wheel and 6 and argparse, like really common Python system libraries, to kind of Google specific. You have the Google API Python client tied to a specific version, and the gRPC library and the Google Cloud libraries are all kind of in there.
All right, makes a lot of sense. So why did we pick runtime 1.14 and Python 3.5? Is that just what the model was
Yeah, that
trained
was
in, or?
I grabbed some of this from some examples that were online that are from like late last year or so. So that was what was running at the time. I could probably bump these up and they would probably still work. I need to go and grab updated exported models to move it to TensorFlow 2.1. So that would allow me to go to version runtime 2.1, but that would be a different download. So I'll probably update that at some point.
So I guess one of the nice things here is that like we're also not tied to the same Python
Yeah,
version, so we can run our model. If the model's not compatible with 3.5 for some reason, but we want to use 3.8 or 3.7 in production, like there's Cloud Run will allow us to do
absolutely.
that. We can just make
I mean,
API
this
calls.
was
Yeah.
a real sticking point for a lot of folks. Specifically, as you can see, the 2.1 version, you'll notice that there's no 2.0. They missed that release basically. TensorFlow 2.0 came out, it came and went, and 2.1 came out, and then at some point after that, we released it. And you can see that's not that long ago, right? Today's April 17th.
Yeah.
And so until March 9th, there was no way through the normal avenues to deploy a model built in TensorFlow 2. Yeah,
Interesting.
without using, and yeah, they didn't have kind of custom container predictions, I don't think. Folks on the live stream can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if some of the engineering team is on right now, but yeah, like you said, you could customize it with a Docker container and run it on Cloud Run if you wanted to, and use the TensorFlow serving image as your base image.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about maybe using that here, but I think it makes more sense for us just to be able to upload this to the AI platform predictions thing and just be able to make API calls to query the model.
The goal was to help us be able to focus on building the web application so that and kind of leave this problem of deploying a machine learning model at scale aside for the time being. Because this will auto scale as well, which is really handy. Speaking of which, let me warm up the model. So it'll go cold, right? So I'm just gonna throw this over the wall here and just let it run it and make sure it's awake. It returned pretty good. So with that said, I guess we should turn to the Cloud Run side of things and kind of pull in some kind of starter script or folder structure that can get us started.
Yeah. So let's see. I mean, there's quick starts for basically any language, but the nice thing about Cloud Run is you can create your own runtime. So this thing that like happens here with the model runtime, where you get very specific PyPI packages, very specific distro packages, is like it doesn't exist for Cloud Run because you define this Docker file that describes. You can start with the base image, which will have some stuff, but then you just pip install whatever you need. Apt-get install whatever. So yeah, there's some quick starts. We'll probably, if we just take the Python quick start, that'll give us like a bare bones web app. We can take that, get it up and running. So yeah, Python quick start.
Yep, just casually testing out my Google foo.
Yeah, we gotta make sure that the links work. So yeah.
So this looks decent.
This looks like Cloud Functions. Looks like you click the second
link. I did click the second link. Well, it said quick start, so I was like, oh, this one also says quick start. To be fair. All right.
You're trained to skip the ads. I guess
that's right. The one thing I'll say though about these docs that now that I'm kind of live streaming this and making it all big is you'll notice how much of the screen is taken up by not useful stuff. Like I want to be able to shrink this left-hand panel and re-expand it as needed, and more importantly, shrink this top panel. Like I don't need to click any of these buttons, like somehow merge these two or make it go away until I mouse up or something. That would be real nice.
Screen.
Yeah, it's precious, to the point where I've actually, for like screenshots sometimes and things like that, I'll like just destroy this top panel, just like right-click inspect and just delete that HTML.
Yeah. So this will give us, this is basically just like our Cloud Run quick start, but I think that if we scroll down a little bit, there's some samples in a couple different languages.
Yes, there is. Let's go over here.
Grab the Python one.
Oh, and it's not even like a git clone. It's so simple that we can just literally copy paste the Flask app. That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty lightweight. So yeah, it's going to be basically only two files. It's going to be the app.py, which is going to be our Flask app,
Yeah.
and the Docker file that's going to define the
What say
runtime.
you make things harder on ourselves and not call it Hello World Python?
I think if you can handle that, we
All
can do
right.
it.
So let's actually make it a meaningful name. So I've made a folder for us here to contain our overall project. I'm going to make a folder inside of that. So we're in Cloud Run Dustin for today's session, and let's make a folder inside of that. We'll call it, I don't know, what are we doing? We're making a web app that calls a prediction service thing. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I don't know, live stream prediction service or
Live
something
predictions. Okay, so we'll go into that, and let's see. It said to make it, to CD into it. Is this, and folks on the live stream can let us know if my font is too small, too big. I'll make it one notch bigger just for good measure here. And then we want to create an app.py and copy this code. It's nice. I really like that they added these, dark theme elements as well as this copy button.
Yeah, copy button.
It can be
nice,
surprisingly
yeah.
difficult sometimes to copy the code correctly without getting too many or too few HTML elements.
Yeah.
All right, Vim app.py. Oh, this is funny. I'm using Vim inside a terminal, inside an editor. Well, I mean, I need to create the file somehow, right? So once it's created it, I'll go over here and I'll open it. Then you'll have access to it, right? That's important. The Python extension is recommended. Can I just, let's see, VS Code, will you do magic? It'll just, boom, it'll just happen inside the editor. It's basically.
I mean, it looks pretty good already.
I know, right? What else is there to do? It's got all the.
For the folks on live stream, I've never used VS Code before, so we're doing some what was it called? The interactive
Python linter now not installed. Let's do that later. Try out preview of our new Python language server. I'll just later. Man, there's a lot. You have selected a Mac OS system install of Python, which is not used. That's fair. Can I select a different one? All right, 3.7. I have 3.7 installed, so I feel better about it. Sounds like a past commercial project for Tesla. Select linter. Let's do that later. You can change the Python interpreter by clicking the Python version in the status bar. I guess it's this button here, Python.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, so Mint Shlokalad says, it sounds like a past commercial project for Tesla. Which part?
I don't know, maybe the GPU that we're using.
Oh, Tesla, yeah.
NVIDIA.
It's a Tesla T4, that's right. Yeah, that lineup of GPUs is the Tesla kind of series. That's funny.
Yeah. Why? Do you know why it's
I'm
called
sure
that?
it's a hat tip to Nikolai Tesla, the scientist. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I heard of it. All right, so we have, what do we have? We have a little Flask app here. I can highlight, cool. Yeah, we're defining an app. This is a WSGI app for those that are familiar with how Python does web servers. We got one root, hello world. It's getting some stuff out of the environment, which we're not going to really probably need to do that, but it'll say hello. If it's not defined, it'll just say world. And this is for development. So when we actually run this in production, we'll run it with a HTTP server that it won't do this debug stuff or run on localhost or anything like that. But yeah, so I mean that's pretty good. We could run this locally right now. I don't think we really need to. I'm pretty sure it's gonna work. So the next step would be our Docker file. So we're going to define the runtime for our container. So
it says containerizing an app and uploading it to container registry. What we want, it looks like we want the Docker. Create a new file named Docker file. Yeah. Copy the file and content, and I guess just for variety's sake, I'll make this file not the way I made the last file. I'm going to right click on live predictions, have a new file. We'll call it Docker file, and it'll open here, and Docker extension is recommended for this file type. Come on.
Yeah.
Everything has an extension.
So many pop-ups.
I know, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's probably a good thing that all the extensions exist, but I don't know if we really need them.
I'm going to save that. What do we got in here? We have a 3.7-slim. So, yes.
Slim. Yeah, so the Slim, I don't think I could tell you what is and isn't in the Slim container, but I guess it's smaller.
I hope so. I hope so. It's a more, it's Python on a diet.
A more svelte Python. And Yeah, so that's our base image. So that's an image that's up on Docker Hub. So if we went to this URL here, we'd go and find all the official Python
Oh,
base
cool. Yeah.
images. So yeah,
How does it
that's
know
three
that it's on
seven.
Docker Hub and not on a different, like,
Yeah, so
container
I
registry?
think that the default, like Docker just assumes by default that you want to use the Docker
Yeah, that
Hub
makes
container
sense.
registry. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's so many on here
And I guess,
too. We also have
yeah, there's
Slim
a lot.
Buster and Stretch.
Yeah, so based on the underlying distros.
Okay.
Yeah. So the one thing I'm going to say this now for all those folks on the
Uh-huh.
live stream, it's very tempting that the Alpine images here. I don't even know why they
What
exist,
does
honestly,
Alpine mean?
because the thing, well, Alpine means it's not using glibc, it's using Musil as the C
Uh-huh.
compiler, and the problem is most Python dependent, like all Python dependencies, none of them support Musil. They're all glibc. So like the built distributions, the wheel files that you're going to
Uh-huh.
install, and the reason you want to install wheel files is because it'll save you a ton of time. You don't have to build things from source if they have like C level
Yeah.
code. You're going to build everything from source if you use an Alpine image.
Ah.
So just basically like, just never really want to be using Alpine with Python in my
Okay.
opinion. But they exist there. I don't know why. But yeah, use Slim. Slim is good, or just the regular Python images too. Yeah,
Great.
Python. So yeah, we got our base image, and then excuse me, we're pulling in our local code. So this is going to copy. Well, it's going to set this environment variable app home. We're just going to use it next on the next line to set the work directory, and we're going to copy everything from our local directory where the Docker file lives into the local
Into the working
inside
directory.
the container.
Why did it
Yeah,
do it this way instead of doing something like just copy from our local to app?
Well, I mean, it's up to you, right? Like this is just like the slimmest possible thing we could do in a Docker file. You can put the stuff anywhere you want, but that work directory is going to be where your execution command's going to run.
Okay. So you do need to set this work directory anyway.
Yeah, you need to tell, if otherwise I think, well, so I guess, yeah. So if the work directory here, we're saying that the work directory is /app.
That's why I was
So
saying,
it's just
that
using by
operation is
default.
effectively like those 3 lines is basically doing that.
Yeah. Well, but then down here, when we go to run these next commands,
you
they're
still
not,
need to set this working
have to-
directory. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what's happening there. So everything's going to be in this /app folder. And then we install production dependencies. And one thing, like, this is great for the quick start because it keeps it down to 2 files. But really, you probably don't want to do this because what's happening here is pip installing the latest version of Flask and the latest version of gUnicorn. So Flask is our web server. gUnicorn is our HTTP server that we're going to use to serve our Flask app. And it's not the best pattern to just automatically upgrade yourself to the latest version. Like you're going to get if it was just published like minutes ago and you run this, you're going to get that in your container. And, I mean, this stuff is pretty reliable, I think, but like a lot of times you'd recommend pinning dependencies. So, know which version of Flask your application works with, which version of gUnicorn, pin those dependencies, and then, manually upgrade those later when you, are ready to move to the next gUnicorn version that you've tested it and all that kind of stuff. This is fine for now. Like,
Yeah.
We're going to be all right at the latest
For our purposes, we can fly by the seat of our pants.
Yeah. Or maybe we're going to find a cool bug in Flask or gUnicorn right now in the latest release. Yeah.
And so I see after we install all of our pip libraries, we exec. So this CMD means just like run this. Wait, this is not that. Because you can, normally when you run something, isn't it just run? If you want to execute something on the bash shell, like we do here.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just going to run a command in the container. Command is not going to actually execute this command. So like when we build this Docker file, if we have like 10 run commands in a row, it'll go through each of them.
Just do whatever it says.
For each that. Yeah, and it'll do what it says, and it'll build a new, each one is a new image that builds on top of the previous image. So you'll cache all the layers. And then at the very end here, it's not actually going to run this command because when you're building the image, you don't want to execute this like final, like this is there's also an entry point. I actually don't know the difference between entry point and CMD here, but like this is going to tell someone that's executing this container, this is the command that you need to run inside the container when you're ready to like do the thing the container does. right? So when we're building it, like we don't want to start our web server during the build process, but we want to expose this command so that we can. So eventually, when we deploy this to Cloud Run, this is what Cloud Run is going to invoke to start our web
Gotcha.
server.
Nice. What is
Yeah,
the
it's a little bit
value
verbose
of
too.
port?
Okay, so this is like kind of the important thing about getting started with Cloud Run is I think a lot of tutorials and stuff out there just sort of assume that like it's up to the user to choose what port they want their server
Yeah.
to run on. Cloud Run, this is like the only thing that actually you really need to configure here and adhere to, besides actually starting your server in 4 minutes. I think it's 4 minutes, which is this port. So you need to make sure that your server is going to listen on the port that Cloud Run is expecting you to start on. So this port is an environment variable that exists in the environment that Cloud Run is executing this image, passed into the container.
Okay, so you don't set that.
Yeah, no, he never set it. So we can set it if we were to build this container locally and run it, we would set it when we run it locally to give it a value. Right. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. But yeah, this is inheriting this from Cloud Run when it's executed.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good question though.
So we have this Docker file. I guess we'll go back to the guide and see what the next step is. All right.
Yeah.
We're still looking at Alpine. All right. So we're here. We did that. We add a Docker ignore file. Okay, that's straightforward enough. We'll just do that real quick.
Yeah, just to keep some stuff getting into our image that we don't need.
Okay. It ignores our Docker file. Oh, it doesn't keep it in the image. I see. Sorry, I was still thinking in terms of git ignore. I was like, why wouldn't we want to save that?
Yeah, no, don't need it unless you're trying to build images inside images inside images.
Build your image using cloud build by running the following command from the directory. All right. So this is one of the things I like to do. Because I always like when I first started doing stuff in cloud and going through tutorials and stuff, I would take a command and I would go over with my command line and I would just paste it. And then I would go back and I would like edit all the values and be like, okay, I need to fix the project ID. And I would type some new value in here. But then inevitably something would go wrong. And then I would have to grab that again. And so then I'd have to go back to the guide. And where's my Chrome window? And then have to copy it again and then realize I need to change it again. So now what I've taken to doing is taking those raw commands and putting them into an editor so that I have them available to me both in the immediate now as well as shortly that next time I'm playing around with this and I'm trying to remember what did I do recently, what was I working on, I can kind of revisit that, and you can kind of see that reflected here too. I have all these command line things that are not generalized. They're kind of specific to my particular workflow that I ran through. In our case, I think because we put this in this live predictions folder, we should be changing this to live predictions, right?
Yeah, I mean, so this is the tag. So we're gonna submit all of these files to Cloud Build. That's gonna build our image, and then we need to give it a tag. So it's gonna tag that final image that it builds, and that tag is what we're gonna use to tell Cloud Run what to deploy later.
Yeah.
Right. So we could like build this image locally, and it'll take a lot longer because maybe you have a smaller machine than Cloud Build has. But yeah, so generally recommended go and let Cloud Build it for you and give it a name, a tag.
Yeah. I also added
I've actually never used I've never done that.
This colon bit, because that's the actual tag. Because this is just the name of the image. If you don't put anything, it'll just be latest. I've had trouble with getting it to upgrade to the latest one if I don't give it a proper one when I try to point it at it.
All right, let's do it. I just always use the latest one.
Like when I was experimenting with kind of Cloud Build, and I wanted to push a new version, and I would like make some changes, and then I would deploy that to like the Kubernetes cluster, and then it wouldn't pick it up because it's like, oh, it's the same name. And I'm like, yeah, but it's changed.
That's
I don't think it's a bug. I probably was just doing something wrong, but I just like manually overrode it basically by making it be v1 v2. And I see we're I'm gonna make this bigger. I see we're kind of doing a number of tasks here as it's pushing the image over. What's cool though is that normally when you do a Docker build, this first step, this build step, takes a while, and it just like flew through all of this, right? When this is like what usually takes a bunch of time on people's machines, when it says step 1 of 6, 2 of 6, 3 of 6, and then once that's all done, it starts. Then you normally would have to run Docker push, which for those of you who do use Docker, if you get too used to a cloud build, aka spoiled, as I was at one point, you forget that you need to push. And so come time for you to actually, if you come into a situation where you do need to run Docker build on a local machine, you'll forget to push it. And then you'll be sad. And then I couldn't think of why isn't my image showing up in GCR? And it took me to think through. I was like, oh yes, that's why. It's because I never gave it to GCR.
So if we scroll up here, you can also see it's like all those steps you're talking about is running the commands we defined in the Docker file. And it's building, it's a new layer. Those hashes, those intermediate containers are the sort of layers that we're layering on top of the base image. And then, push the whole final image up to the container repository. And then it's done.
Awesome. So with that out of the way, we can go down to the deployment stage. We'll deploy our built image. And again, we have a replacement situation where we want this. Yeah, I know I can see also the value of environment variables in situations like this. Sometimes we use environment variables really heavily in our tutorials, and it can get a little bit tedious, right? It's like, why are we making all these environment variables? But then when you do your own thing, it's like, oh, I could use some environment variables right now. That'd be nice. All right, we'll just run and deploy it.
Let's see what happens. So it's going to ask us a couple things.
Include that V1.
We didn't specify. We didn't specify a region, so it's probably going to ask us what region we want. And we're saying platform managed, so there's a couple options there. We could have deployed it to GKE or Anthos or whatever. But we're just going to do regular hosted Cloud Run.
And it says you'll be prompted for the service name. It's interesting that, right, because the image, it won't inherit it from the image name. You have to specify. So we'll just keep everything the same to have maximum confusion.
And this will be reused in our URL, right? That service name shows up in the URL that it's going to
and Cloud Run is not enabled because this is proof that I have not done this before, right? I always like to say that for these live streams, I truly don't know what we're about to do and what we're about to get into, and this is proof because the API isn't even enabled in this project.
Yeah, so here's our region. And we could have specified this region on the command line. We could have specified the service name on the command line too. So maybe, if we're doing a lot of deploys, we'll just add that in there. So we have to do this every time.
Let me take a peek at where we have this deployed.
Oh, that's good.
So this is in US Central 1. So let's pick one of the US, well, I guess it's region, so we have to pick. Well, we don't have to, but probably be wise to put this one.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to put a number.
Interesting.
Just put a number.
Yeah.
U.S. Central 1. I didn't know we had 2 East regions. That's cool. Allow unauthenticated invocations. What are your thoughts there?
So, Well, so what this means is that either we can open up, so Cloud Runs can produce a URL where our app is going to be living at the end of this deployment process. And if we say yes,
it'll be like a website.
Unauthenticated. It's just a URL, and anybody watching can hit the URL and play around with it. If we say no, we'll have to do some custom IAM permissions so that we could lock it down so that only people on our project can invoke it, or only another service can invoke it, that kind of thing. But for now, we're just going to say yes. And,
so everyone on the live stream can join us in load testing our service.
And so, I don't know. It's Cloud Run is nice because it's serverless, right? So it's going to scale up to anything. Let's see. Oh, we got some in the chat. We got a massive JavaScript function that moves. Oh, I guess removes the stickies from the.
Yeah. Do you want to try running it?
All right, that's cool.
Let's run some.
Yeah, I'm gonna audit that first before
All
I
right.
run that.
You want to try it on the docs before I run it on the broadcast?
Yeah.
And it seems like people want us to run it unauthenticated. So let's do it. Alfredo says, yeah, let's go for it. So we have.
Yeah. Oh, Guillaume's here too. Hey, Guillaume, what's up? I was gonna meet him at Next this year. I see him on Stack Overflow all the time, and unfortunately, no, Next isn't happening. But yeah, glad to see you on the chat.
Guillaume's been on before, so great to see you. And
cool.
Let me know, Dustin, once you've audited Greg's JavaScript. It looks pretty compelling.
It looks harmless. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll work.
So should I open this?
Let me see.
You run that one. I'll run this URL. I'm gonna paste this into the live chat so others can follow along. What do you say?
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, do it.
I'm gonna copy this, and we're gonna paste it here. I'm gonna paste it in the live chat. And we have our hello world, starting point from which we can now extend. And we should mention that this is scheduled to be a 2-hour live stream. So don't worry, even though it looks like we don't have much time left, we still have enough time, I think, to sort out the problem of uploading images, pushing it across the web, authenticating to AI platform on the back end, getting the predictions and pushing it back out onto the web page. All right. So our website works. Did the JavaScript do what we thought it would do?
Yeah. So I'm not really sure. Like I pasted that in my URL thing, and it didn't execute. Tried pasting it to the console, and it's like telling me functions need names and things like that. So yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong.
Okay. All right. Well,
JavaScript.
Visit your thing, and then that's it for this tutorial. So I think now that we've finished this, I guess we're on. Now we are in the freewheeling, open air market of doing whatever we want.
Yeah, it's up to us to from here on out. Where training wheels are off, I guess. All right, so what do we need to do?
Yeah, we can use the text file to kind of write out some of our requirements and plan.
Yeah, so we're going to be uploading images, so we need to we'll do some very basic HTML to take, make a form. It'll have an input. We'll choose a file. Then we'll need to, I guess we can probably just use a single endpoint on the back end. And that can handle like a post request or a GET request. And to take the image, and then what do we need to do? We need a base64 encoded image, and then we'll get on to calling APIs and stuff. But I think maybe first iteration here, we just get the form working, get the image upload working, and make sure we are correctly base64 encoding the image.
Agreed. And what we could actually do is we could encode it and decode it and then push it back up to the front end, because we're going to have to display the image once the predictions are back anyway. Not that the predictions are going to come back as images. So we might not need to do that then. Never mind. That would only be relevant for like an object detection use case, which we could build down the road once we have this.
We could do it. I mean, it'd be good to sort of see what we had uploaded, make sure we uploaded the right thing. But that'd be interesting, because we need to send a response that has an image that it's not a local file or anything like that. So we could probably do it, but maybe let's start with this. Stick to this for now. And
Okay, so tell me what you want me to do. This is the pair programming kind of well, you can't create files, so I'll create files for us at the very least. Do you want to have like a source folder or like a HTML folder, scripts folder? How do you want to structure it?
The way Flask works is we'll need to define a templates directory. So in that same directory as app.py, create a templates directory.
The templates directory will be parallel, like next to app.py. So like we're in live predictions right now. And then you're saying inside of that we have app.py, and we'll have templates like this.
Yep.
And then what's going to be in templates?
That's where we're going to put our HTML file. So this will be like an index.html file. We'll start with that.
I've made the folder, and index.html. Great, and that's open.
And Yeah. Write some HTML.
I literally don't remember the last time I wrote HTML, so I might not get much farther than head and body.
I probably want an HTML tag there too.
Maybe that's possible. Thank you.
So let's stick a header in there.
I'm loving the autocompletes though.
Yeah, it's a little bit. And form. So I think by default forms are gonna use a GET request, so we need like method equals post.
Yeah.
So we're gonna post it. Yeah, it's gonna post to that same endpoint that this exists at. And input type file. Yeah, file. Name or image. And I don't know. Oh, we need like a submit button.
Wow.
That looks like
something
plausibly valid HTML.
Man, Dustin, this is like a freaking masterclass in making a website from scratch with no notes or preparation. It's very impressive.
This is literally all I can do. Anything beyond this is no. I think this will honestly work. So yeah, let's pretend that's going to work. And
all right, I'm going to open a file browser, because what we can do to save us some, not headache, but just overhead, is just drop this HTML file, since we have nothing depending on the backend in this, into the browser. You can see what it looks like.
Yeah,
that's a good starting point. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I don't know what's going to show up when I try to upload something. Oh, let's upload the thumbnail from today. There. All right, it got shot off into the abyss. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Did it make a request? I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I guess we can check it. Yeah, I thought I saw something fly by. I actually can't tell. I don't know if the page just refreshed when we clicked it. I don't know enough about inspecting all of this.
All right.
That's a good starting point. Okay.
So the next thing we need to do is the application itself also needs to handle post requests. So yeah.
Because right now,
so I guess
the root route, yeah, it is the root route. The slash route, it just returns hello world. So even though we made this HTML file, we need to return something else here.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess there's like two different ways to do this, right? Like we could have a single route that handles all types of HTTP verbs, and it like does some logic inside of it to determine which it should do. Like, is this a GET request? Is this a POST request? Give a different response or do something differently. I think we're just going to want to separate this into two different endpoints.
It's simple enough that all we're doing is, we have a page and it submits stuff. Like that's all there is to it. We don't have to make it super generic. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing maybe we should test is we should render the template. And we can run this stuff locally too. Yeah. So we don't have to go through the whole deploy cycle. Flask has a render template function here. And then render template is pretty nice, actually. It automatically finds your templates in your templates directory. And instead of returning a string, so what's happening here is if we just return a string, Flask creates this response around it. It assumes that we want the status code to be 200 okay. It doesn't add any extra headers or anything. We can change the status code by adding extra, if we return a tuple here, a string and an integer, then I'll say 404. But we can also use these helper functions to just sort of return whatever we want. So render template,
index.html.
Yeah, that's it. We don't need this anymore either. Let's try and run this locally, I guess, and just see if our template renders.
All right. So what does it mean to run this locally? Do you want to just run python app.py?
Yeah, you could do that because we've defined this if name equals main
Uh-huh.
thing at the end. So that'll start our app, run a debugger, all that kind of stuff.
No module name fast, right? We have to do all the local installs of whatever we ran in the Docker file.
Yeah, so let's, can I type here?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll create a virtual environment.
Oh. I have PyEnv. Oh, it's tied to the wrong
right.
Python version. Here, can I load in?
Yeah, see.
I'm trying to remember how I usually activate my stuff. How is it?
I think it's without a dash, just PyEnv.
It's also possible that, oh, right. I don't have it set up. Okay, so PyEnv version, do you just do this way? Don't remember. Oh, nah. I don't remember the
So I think we need to, yeah, no, PyEnv is awesome, by the way, if anyone.
No, but I have 3.7.4 installed right here. I just don't remember how to point it to the right one.
Yeah. So we need to initialize. Well, that didn't work either. Do that? Or no? Okay.
PyEnv set version. I just don't remember the command. I have like a cheat sheet somewhere, but oh, dash s version. Oh no, that's Python. PyEnv version.
Yeah.
Okay, notes on installation. I forget the command to list out the environment names. It's been a while since I've done stuff locally. I usually do stuff in the cloud to avoid having to like build stuff. Let's
see. So, I mean, one thing we can do is we can actually like set this in your bash RC so that you get PyEnv automatically.
Oh. Oh, that's how you do it. Right. Python, you do local and then the number. As a shortcut, at least. I am local and then 37-4. Like. Sed? Why is it running sed? Also, it says PyEnv not found now. Did you make PyEnv go away? It used to exist.
Well, what happened is I tried to run PyEnv init, and we might need to restart your terminal here.
Oh, that's good. All right, let's start a new bash shell. All right, here we go. Shell integration not enabled. Run PyEnv init for instructions. Oh, because you added stuff to my bash.
Yeah.
Great. Now we need to run this.
Well, no, I think this is the way.
Load PyEnv automatically by appending to the bash profile the following text. Okay, let's show everyone how mundane my bash profile is at this point.
Nice, very simple.
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't have much of a local development environment. And then I guess we'll kill this shell and then make it again so it reloads. I guess I could have run source, but that was boring. Python shell, what's that? Local. We're in adventures, that's fine. Hey, it worked.
Yeah, cool.
Rich Python. Good. Python -v. Good.
Hey, that looks really cool.
We'll cd into what is it? What did we call this folder? Cloud Run Dustin. cd into live predictions. All right, we're back underway, folks. After a brief intermission where we now realize I forgot we didn't install Flask. That's great. You don't have right? Yeah, for that terminal. Okay, pip install Flask.
Wait.
Right? You want to make we have to make. We can't just.
Yeah.
All right. We'll make.
You don't want to mess up your whole.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Where's the thing for? Because I know I have. Oh, I don't. I didn't create any VMs. Okay, that's fair. Do I even have that installed though?
So virtualenv is built into Python. In
so worst case, we can just use that. Yeah.
I created virtualenv, which you can't see. Yeah, and so now it's activated. And now, so this is kind of what I was talking about before. So I'm just gonna, we should go ahead and do this
go
now.
for it.
Instead of like our Docker file, we have it here. Instead of pip installing Flask and Unicorn there, let's
we can just do a pip install requirements, and it'll map to the same stuff. Good.
And we still won't pin the versions, but now in the Docker file, we can pip install -r requirements.txt. And then locally, when we want to run this in our virtual env, we can just do the same thing, pip install -r requirements.txt.
Yeah, it's good to have an environment, like a procedure that is mirrored in both production and development and test and stuff. So that's good.
And then you don't have to type out all the dependencies too. All right, cool. So now we can Python app.py, and it should run our app. Cool.
Allow incoming connections, localhost 8080.
Oh, this is awesome. I can see, that's cool. So it exposes it locally for me too.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I can
shared port 8080. That is outrageous. All right, you submit a file.
That's awesome.
Wait, but I won't see it here though, right? Because we're on different local hosts.
Yeah, so I would just be submitting a request, so you should do it.
But even if I do, we didn't log anything.
Well, it's probably
method not allowed.
Hey,
it's something.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So if we look back in the terminal, we got the same. We got a post request, which is good.
And we return a 405
to the /endpoint. Yeah, because we didn't, create that endpoint.
That's solid.
So yeah, let's do that. And I think you just leave this running too. I think the reloader it might not be on, but we could turn it on too.
Oh,
it might just automatically reload too.
Yeah, I can switch to the other shell if we need a shell for doing stuff, Or I'll kill this shell and we'll make a new second shell.
Cool.
Oh, I see. And it automatically runs pym shell to make my default Python. All right, I'll take it.
Nice.
So you can see both of these shells?
Yeah, I can switch between them. Cool. All right, so let's make that endpoint in our app.py file.
App.py. So we need another app route.
Yeah, and we'll use the same mount point there, the same
really?
/ Yeah. But what we can do is give it a different function name. So let's call this handle or predict. Sure. Yeah. And
it's going to have an argument, right? Because it's a post.
No. So yeah, well, that's the way that things like I don't know. I think you're probably thinking about like cloud functions or something like that. But yeah, no. The Flask uses thread locals for its request object. So if we want to get the request, it won't come in as an argument. But what we do need to do is
some kind of modifier here in the decorator.
Yeah. So we got to tell it which methods this endpoint's going to be used for, which will be post for this one. And then we also need, right now, I think the default here is get.
Let's make it explicit.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. All right, so yeah, that's our GET request, and call this index. And then, I don't know, we could print something here just to see if it got the upload.
Yeah. Just return something like we did before?
Yeah, we could just return some string or something.
Great.
Cool, yeah, all right, so let's see. Did it auto reload? It did, nice.
Oh yeah? Got an upload.
All right.
Oh, when I refresh it, I just hit refresh. I didn't actually resubmit anything.
Oh, because
that's so funny. Yeah.
Reset
it must have.
So yeah, cool.
And it looks like it did reload like you mentioned. So I'll just leave that running in the background.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. So that's working. So let's get our file out of the request, and then base64 encode it, and then we'll be ready to make some API calls, I guess.
I'm gonna go pull the base64 encoding code out while you set up the pulling the image piece out, right?
Yeah, I'll work on that in the background.
This is what dual productivity is supposed to look like. I'm just going to put it in the same file, or do you want us to have the utility in a separate file?
No, let's just put it in the same file. Cool. Oh, what is this doing? All right. Yeah, we got to change that a little bit.
What's up?
So right now this is, this is opening a local
Yeah, I'll
file.
adjust that. Yeah, this is just the
Yeah.
initial stuff. I'll tweak it all. Is the file not show up as a... Does it not appear as like a local path within that file server?
It probably shows up as like a file handler. Let's see.
Huh. Yeah, okay. So if it's already opened, so to speak, you can just directly use that handler.
No, it's like it's like some Flask file thing.
So we'll have to take a look at how Flask takes care of that. And then we have JSON. Do we have file system access when we're in a container environment like this? Like, is there essentially, effectively, a local file system that we can write and read to if we needed to?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah.
Okay. So like I can write this JSON output to what the code will see as the local file system, and then pick up that JSON code in a different function or something later on.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, I think it'd be better to try and keep it all
in memory,
at least here. But I mean, so the thing about like Cloud Run is actually stateless. So maybe in the same request you could do that, but like
yeah, absolutely. This would be within one request, but yeah, in that case, it does make sense to just keep it in memory then. So this predict request is the JSON. This is actually a string. It hasn't been encoded to JSON specifically. It's a JSON string. So what we'll want to do is actually encode this to JSON. I can never remember JSON dumps versus loads. Which one's the one that makes a string? Which one makes... JSON loads takes a string and turns a JSON object. Yes, that's what we're looking for.
Yeah. The S, so it's not loads, it's load S. So load string or dump string. It either loads string or dumps out a string. That's how you can remember. Yeah.
And then I remember there's also the one without the S that does something else, like just load and dump.
Yeah, I think they probably return. I don't know.
Yeah, they're slightly different. So if we want, we should be able to get away with just return the string directly like that. How are you holding up on the string finder?
Yeah. So
or the image.
The result of this is it's gonna be a workzoig file storage object, which is kind of what I expect. So we get it out of the request.files dict, and then I'm trying to figure out how to do it all in memory so we don't have to write it out.
So I'm gonna start browsing around here in my browser, and Stack Overflow is letting us know that dark mode is available. Request.files file. So this one, that's the question I asked her. What was the actual answer? If anyone has any thoughts on the live stream about grabbing files, workzerg utils, secure file name. Yeah, let us know if you have any good Flask file upload reading tips.
Yeah, I think it's just like something that kind of behaves like a
file,
like a file handler. So we can probably, I think we can call just read on it. Yeah, it looks like we can. Let's try it. It's so cheap to just reload and run locally. It doesn't take a lot of time.
All right. Oh, you already get it. Okay. So do you want to do something with this uploaded file?
I mean, it's going to be...
Can we print the file name at something? We could return the file.
Oh, yeah.
Let's print the file name and...
Okay. So, let's do this.
I don't know what type of object this is.
Yeah, that's the workzoid file storage object. So you can call dot file name on that.
One word, no underscore.
I'll read on that to get the contents. Oh no, yeah.
Ah,
The contents are just going to be or like bits or
you can
binary
return the
string or whatever.
contents. Are you going to return the contents or no?
Well, well, I'm kind of curious what it looks like, but yeah, let's run this and see what happens.
This is what it's all about. Just trying it and seeing what happens. All right, I'm going to close the HTML page. We're going to reload the home page, make it bigger again. We're going to choose a file. I'm going to change the folder we're going to choose from to where was the, oh yeah, it's up a level. I'd like to put an image into our folder so then we can work from here.
Oh yeah, get that cute puppy back.
Yeah. Where did I put that puppy though? I know where it is. I think I still have the link.
Oh yeah, from Wikimedia.
What folder are we in? We go to Cloud Run Dustin. Yeah, that's a good place of any. Curl it down. Then we'll have it here. When I go to choose a file, assuming it knows where to look, it does not. Going through my file structure again. Here we are, the puppy. Submit. And debug files, key error. What do we get?
Yeah.
Tried to ask us the file image of the request.files dictionary, but it does not exist. The browser instead transmitted some file names. This was submitted. Puppy.jpg.
So I think, yeah, what it's saying there, we need to add an attribute to our form and tell it's multi-part form data.
Oh, fancy.
We can just, yeah.
Oh, the MIME type for this request is this instead of what? This.
I guess that's the default one.
Yeah. Do you want me to copy them all? Oh, but it probably should be like image, right? There's an image encoding, a MIME image type. Like, what's the?
Oh, so this is the actual like form itself has an encoding type, and we need to tell it it's multi-part and has data to actually handle the image, the file uploads. It doesn't really care if it's what kind of file it is. So I added it to the HTML file.
Oh, it's already in the HTML file. Right. So I was like looking for the text to copy it. Enc type. They really had to shorten that
guy.
Encode type was too many letters.
Characters were expensive, 20, 30 years ago. This is all getting defined.
All right, let's take a look at our form. Where I guess we should just be able to rerun it. But I don't know that it reloaded after you changed just the HTML file.
Yeah, so it doesn't need to actually. So every request is going to pull that fresh HTML file. So
let's refresh.
Yeah.
Choose our puppy. We'll submit. String object is not callable. Let's see what we typed wrong here.
Oh yeah.
What did we do wrong?
I wasn't being your linter enough. So file name is an attribute, not a method or function. So
all right, we'll save again. We'll refresh. We'll reconfirm the form submission. The view function did not return a valid response. Return type must be one of these, but it was file storage.
Yeah, because we returned uploaded file and not uploaded file contents.
Now I did have that print statement of file name. So is that in the prints here in our terminal somewhere? We might have it.
Yeah, puppy. I see it. I see puppy.jpg.
Right, your eyes are sharper than mine.
It's right under the debugger pin there.
Oh, yes. And this is why it can sometimes be handy to put a bunch of text elsewhere.
Yeah, I like to. I like to put. This is what I do all the time. I think everyone has their own
Yeah.
thing.
What do you put?
I do this. I feel like this is the you get the most characters for the least amount of characters. This is like a bunch that's 80 stars.
Oh,
Not like this.
you're
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It
like
looks
that.
like a typo, but it's not. I thought you forgot to
Yeah,
close.
no,
It's like, what does star star do? That's brilliant.
yeah. That's multiplying a
Yeah,
single
yeah.
string by
80.
80. Yeah.
So if I refresh this and get the same error again, or not because we fixed it, well, we'll still have the print statements. But I see it returned the image as bytes. Oh, I love it. Look at
Oh,
that.
did it? Oh, yeah. Nice.
Look at this.
It looks really
It
good.
looks like a puppy to me. Passes my inspection here. This is what the matrix looks like. You know, you just look at the
I think
scrolling and all the wingdings and the dingbat, font flying by.
Yeah. So what are we're trying to render an image as
Yeah.
text here, and it's just not working. So, but I think that looks. I mean, not that I can look at it and tell it's right, but that looks about right to me. I think that's what I
Yeah,
was
it's picture
expecting.
perfect. Pixel perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, what do we need? We need to base 64 encode that.
So, what is the type of this contents?
So I think it's going to be a byte string, just like what your original function was expecting
Oh,
as well, which is
that's
not
great.
in frame here. But yeah, but let's print the type. You know, let's make sure it's what we're expecting. So it means we'll have to base
Only
64 encode
concatenate
and,
strings, not bytes, to string. Oh, because I didn't
Yeah,
wrap
so
it.
what we
I
can
didn't
do
wrap
is-
it in type. but it is
Yeah.
bytes clearly because the error already told us that it's bytes that it can't concatenate with. Yeah, it still doesn't like it. I don't know why.
Yeah, I gotta cast the type to a string too, because it's
Is type not a? Oh, right. Oh my gosh.
so when you're concatenating strings like that. I didn't save it, by the way. It doesn't do the repr stuff automatically.
Class bytes. So this is
It's
yeah.
bytes. Cool.
So this is expecting
Yeah.
a actual file path. So so basically I need to unwrap it by one level because I don't need a file handler anymore.
I think we just need this bit right here. So we're calling
Yeah,
dot read.
that's what I mean. Like I
already.
don't need this outer layer
Yeah.
and anything associated with it.
Yeah.
So we'll unwrap everything by one layer, one level. And instead of input file dot read, this should be input bytes.
Oh. Yeah, whatever. I mean, we could read it in the function, the helper function. We could read it outside of it.
Oh, do we still
Let's
have
keep
to?
it
Oh,
the
we
way it
still have to
was.
call it. We still have to call dot read.
Well, we're calling it down here, but we could just pass the file in instead, like you originally.
Ah, yes. Can we pass in the file handle instead?
Yeah.
Okay. So
So,
you'll change the
path.
predict image. Well, it used to be called file path, but let's just call it input file or yeah, the actual file. Interesting. So it's the file handler. We'll call it dot. Okay, that's so when you called dot read earlier, the significance of that didn't occur to me that it was the same dot read as this dot read. Okay, I think this all looks right then. This output argument is not necessary since we're returning it. So it's 2. Oh, you already changed it. On the ball.
Yeah.
So our result then will be what we want to return.
Yeah, that'll be our
that'll
JSON
be what
that we.
this is the result is the JSON. Yeah, you can delete that.
Yeah.
That's our JSON object, which we can return in C. So that'll be something, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be
Uploaded file contents not defined. Pretty sure that's just the print error. Yeah.
Oh yeah, we can just get rid of that.
Save. Oh, only I can save apparently.
Oh, I
Oh,
can't
you can't?
see it.
Okay.
I just figure.
Look at that beauty. Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, looks like a puppy.
Yeah, I know, right? Still, I was going to say we could actually pipe it back in, but I mean, we know base 64 encode works, so there's no sense in writing the code to read.
Oh, I guess in HTML, you can like provide a base64 string to render an image from. So we could actually render this in the browser.
You could
if we wanted
render
to.
it, but you'd still have to pass in, because you can see here, there's a JSON wrapper around it. So you'd have to extract image
Yeah,
bytes, bracket, B64 bracket, select that string out, and then you can pass that
yeah.
into HTML. Okay, so
All right,
now we
so
need to call, this is the hard part, quote unquote. We need to call AI platform, and we need to get a key, service account, blah, blah, blah. So this is the integration step.
So do we need a service account? Because so what happens in Cloud Run is we get the default service account for the
And we need to install
So
the SDKs, the client libraries.
we need that. Yeah, we need to do that
That's
too.
for sure. All right. So assuming that it just works, what I mean is we can't test locally unless we get the service account set up.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
Prediction, online, development environment. So this is the Python client library. And so yeah, you can see here for local setup, you would go and create a service account key. Do you think we should bother with that, or do you feel confident enough in our Cloud Run deployment workflow?
Yeah, the Cloud Run deployment is pretty quick. I think we could probably
We can
just
get
take
away
this
with
right to
it.
Cloud
All right.
Run and not,
So let's add the installation of the library. Open that up for our docs. I wish it said something more about it other than just saying, here's a link. Good luck.
Yeah.
All right, let's close this. Let's close this. Just trying to keep my tabs. So this is the client. I don't think I've seen, this is the real documentation page. Wow, I've really fallen into a hole. Went back in time.
What is that?
Let me go back.
Yeah,
Let me go back. No, I know the actual docs look better than this. They have to look better than this.
So I mean, so this thing happens sometimes with our APIs, right? Either sometimes we have a client library that exists for it, so you can pip install like Google Cloud Vision or whatever, and sometimes that client library doesn't exist, and looks like we're in that later.
Oh, okay, yeah. This is the
thing.
discovery
Yeah.
version. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
This is what you use if the client
Yeah.
library, the specific one.
Yeah, I've
doesn't
done this
exist.
before
Yeah.
with this library before with like these calls. It's just been a while. So we'll add this to our requirements. That look right to you?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, looks right.
Since we're not doing local installs, I don't need to run that. And third-party dependencies will be pulled in. And so why is it that? Oh, okay. So you're saying that this one that I'd like to use, if I can find the actual. Okay, so these libraries have support, and the others do not. Alpha support even? Ah, okay. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
There is nothing.
Feature requests.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I mean, so the nice thing is like most of these are automatically.
They are. These are. This is the auto gen ones. So
yeah. So it's possible we could just create this someday, more or less.
Okay. So I guess I have already forgotten the workflow to push our. I'm gonna close this local browser. I guess then this local server.
Yeah.
And this is why I like having this. I already forgot. We have submit and deploy, right?
Yeah.
These are our two commands. I'm going to upgrade our version to 2. We're going to deploy v2.
So I'm gonna go out on a branch here and say you don't need to specify that version tag here, because in my experience, Cloud Run, it always picks up.
So I can just do
version.
this. Great. That'll make it easier workflow wise too. All right. So we'll just let that run. I'll open it up. Scroll to the bottom. What? Oh, there. Okay, it's down here. It's doing stuff. It's just creating a tarball.
Is it running both? Huh?
Uploading. It's uploading the tarball, right? So that's the one thing that we can't get away with skipping. And once it's up there, it'll be fast. But because we are live streaming and I'm on Hangouts with you, network is gonna, be a little bit slower than usual until it gets, pushed into the cloud, and then it should proceed as usual. I mean, it said it was 20 megs of like source, so that's non-trivial.
Yeah, so there's probably some stuff we could do here to slim. Oh, one thing it's probably uploading is our virtual environment that we created, which
Really?
we definitely don't need.
Why did it upload that?
Yeah, because so we didn't put it in our Docker ignore file. So, actually, no, wait, that doesn't use Docker ignore. That's for getting inside the image. So there's a .gcloud ignore file that might be in this directory, and if not, we could create it and ignore all this stuff. I think gcloud automatically creates it.
Yeah, Guillaume is recommending on the chat here that we add a git ignore without Python environment in it.
Yeah. Or we just delete the Python environment. So it's asking us what the service name is. I forgot what you called it. What did you call it?
I called it the same thing.
Do you remember?
I think it's still live predictions, but there should be an easy way to check this, right? Like, we should be able to go into, like, this might be a good chance to just like show the Cloud Run UI, like in the console.
Yeah.
So here's our service. It is spinning for some reason. I assume it's because we're mid deploy, and I did call it live predictions. Oh, you typed it for me.
Cool. All right. So I have to.
Man, having another person helping you out is so handy. It's like suddenly my computer is way smarter than it usually is.
So if we're going to be doing a couple more deploys, we can put that in your that command you wrote down, so we don't have to type it every time.
Oh, we can include it as an argument.
Yeah.
Do you happen to know what it is?
And I can't. Yeah, so it'll be Cloud Run deploy. No, not for the build, for the deploy stuff. Name? Nope.
Oh, what did I just do?
So the service name just goes right after the deploy command. So there's no flag or anything, just Cloud Run deploy live predictions. And then you can also specify the region. That's the other thing it's asking us for. So / region, US Central 1.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool. So yeah, that's deployed, and
still doesn't do anything more than it did before. But now,
yeah, I mean, we can.
Now everyone else can go to this URL and upload images. And what will it do when you upload an image? Return you nonsense. Right? Oh no, it'll return the base64 encoding. So we've built a service for base64 encoding. That's not nothing, right? It's not nothing.
All right, done.
It's barely something, but it's not nothing. Now, what I was trying to do was find the... Right. So this is the discovery libraries, ML, V1, yes. This is the one. It's been a long time since I've been face-to-face with this.
Yeah. If you scroll to the bottom of those docs, it just has everything all together, too.
Everything all together. Amazing. Yeah. Here we go. Putting it all together. Please do. Why are there only 2 imports there? For discovery and errors. But up here there was... Oh, Google credentials. Who needs those? Yeah, no, I'm serious. So we shouldn't, right? So that's why I'm like, all right, we'll leave it out. Yeah. It's fine. All right, I'll put this at the top and of our giant laptop hive now.
Yeah. So we don't want to do all of that up there, but most of it.
I'll wrap some of it into a function, probably all of it except for the imports for now.
Well, I think like the stuff where we're defining the project ID, building the client.
Oh yeah, that's worth doing on its own. That's fair.
Yeah, we don't have to do that once.
And we'll make the request and handle it in a function.
Right. Yeah.
All right. That's good. Def prediction request. All right. Let me grab our model. Oh, this code is for creating a model though, not for querying one. Gotta love the quick start, right?
It's like what do you want to do? You always want to create
No, we already
models. You don't
created a
need to
model.
predict.
So the way this works is you create a model, and then a model is actually just the wrapper around what they call versions. So versions is what we really care about. And there definitely is like a versions, call. I just need to find it. All right, custom routine line, API resources, tutorials, runtime versions, regions, and explanations. See, in the past, there was a link to like
Yeah,
API,
it's under the prediction workflow.
JSON, V1 reference,
Oh,
projects.
wait, I found a much better one.
Did you?
Yeah, go back.
Prediction workflow. Oh, is it getting
Yeah.
online predictions?
Yeah, that's it. Not super obvious, maybe. So if you scroll down to the bottom of that, there's
More code.
a way.
Yes. How
Yeah.
to set up authentic.
But it looks
Shorter.
like what we
Yeah.
want.
Requesting predictions. That does sound like what we want. Okay, I'm not going to copy this whole thing. I'm going to piecemeal this since we already have some of this done. We have the service. All right, I'll copy this and then we'll fix it. App.py. I'll delete this particular, well, I want to leave this try except block because it looks interesting. Paste. That work? Where did I just paste? All right, let me delete this, tab it in, paste. Okay, so we already, the big font is what's killing me. I can only see like a little bit at a time. Project ID, we'll start filling some of this out. ML, I'm shocked that we're still in MLv1. I'm not sure that that's accurate necessarily. I hope it is, but that's a potential risk.
Maybe it's a super solid API.
Maybe. So we don't need this line.
This is the same. Yeah.
Name. What is this name? Oh, that's the model name. So we need that line. If versions is not none. Oh, because they have a function at the top with some arguments. So let's see what of those we care about. Put that here for now. So, oh, is project just by itself?
Yeah, because down here we're doing projects / that's project ID and then the model name. So we need whatever you called that.
Yeah, I got you. Here's the model name and then model version.
That's the version?
Yep. Sorry.
Oh,
I know it's not the most intuitive name ever. When I made this, the idea was that this was going to be a wrapper for all sorts of pre-trained image classifiers, and you could potentially have like other image classifiers, and you could pass the same image to it. You could just select a different kind of version. Typically, you'd probably end up with a single model architecture, and then you can just have like V1, V2, V3. So.
Gotcha. That's what I was
expecting.
I
was deviating a little bit from the norm, that's for sure.
That's all right.
If version is not none, then we append the version. So that allows your URL to be projects and the thing, models and then the thing, and then versions and then its value. And so now the name is the name. Instances is our JSON from our B64 encode. And then we make the call.
So what did that B64 encode? Oh, that was the, okay. So it was a mapping from the model name to, because in the doc string here, it's like key should be the name of tensors in your deployed model.
It's, you know, as usual, it's not the most intuitive read of like, should be the names of tensors your deployed model expects as inputs. Yeah, so in our case, this model expects image bytes as the key of the input. And so you have to wrap the whole thing in instances. and there's like subtleties around image models. I don't know if, yeah, you can see it here. This is the Python 3 binary data in prediction input. In TensorFlow model, you must name the aliases for binary so that they end in underscore bytes. Yeah, that's a hard-coded requirement, which is kind of crazy. And it's possible that instances shouldn't be there. We'll see what it comes back with. But
let's see.
Yeah, we'll find out. So we need to call prediction request, and then we get a response. Print response. Okay, that's good enough for now, I guess. We'll just print the response. To B64 encode. Did you already call this? Oh, no, you didn't. Okay, so you called to B64 encode, and then we need to call prediction request with our model version project and instances. But instances is the third thing for some reason.
It's
I know,
weird.
right?
Oh, I guess it's because it's
Yeah,
keyword.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna change this to not result, but oh, actually, instance isn't the worst name ever. B64 image. Let's call it that. Thanks. Save. Return result should be the response of this. And we're not returning anything from this right now. So for now, we'll just return the response on success.
Okay.
And obviously, there's parsing to be done. As you saw, the response to that was gnarly. But that's the CLI response.
Yeah.
It's not actually the JSON response. The JSON object obviously needs parsing as well. Okay, let's push it.
Yeah, let's do it.
And now it should just all go rather than not. Oh, we never got around to getting that git ignore added. Oops.
Yeah. We should remove our directory too. Yeah, it needs 20 megs. Not that bad, actually.
Oh, you're talking about this M directory?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of stuff in there. I don't think there's 20 megs in there, but there's something.
Something.
Don't you love how it just...
It is 16.9 megabytes.
Double dash. Oh, that's pretty big.
That's non-trivial. So that's funny. So let's see. Maybe it is worth making this. Where should the git ignore be? At what level? It should be same level as the Docker ignore.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right in that root there.
Git ignore. And do you just put ./env? Would that cover it, among other things? To specify the...
Yeah, I mean, that would work. I think you could just do...
Or just env by itself.
Yeah.
All right, it's live.
I think either of them would work.
Service unavailable. Ah.
Oh, I did something wrong.
It's probably... Oh, wait. I was mostly just making a joke. Maybe it changed the URL.
No, the URL should stay the same. So if we need to go look in the console and see. For some reason, probably Gunicorn couldn't start.
Probably didn't install the right libraries or some craziness. Look in the logs. Okay, so we go into the service, and assuming I have any intuition about how this works, we have this table. We have logs are here. And you have this in this menu. We have this traceback. So I've seen just now.
You probably I think it's gonna tell us.
This is call with frames removed. Frozen import lib bootstrap. What is this?
So it's Gunicorn's trying to go and find our application, and it can't. Probably due to some. Yeah, here it is. It's not super clear what's happening, but it's a syntax error we're doing. I'm surprised our editor didn't catch this.
What was the error?
So this is
Because This comma is.
Oh, yeah, it needs to be
Oh,
this.
it's a typo in the docs.
I think that was like.
Because we copied that.
Yeah, possibly.
Like that comma is not valid.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah. Stern. Hey, Stern.
Thanks
How
for
you
the
doing?
error reporting. But you think it was because that was in the thing about using Python client library. I'm pretty sure that error was a left holdover from this right here. Yeah, it's right here. So
Yeah.
that's not right.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, that's like a Python 2 way to do
Uh-huh.
this. What we want to do is accept HTTP error as
Yeah.
error.
Cool.
So it takes the exception in. So yeah, I updated it here.
I'm gonna
And,
screenshot it, and then I can
Yeah.
report this afterwards. Save this to documents. Record selected portion. No delay. Capture. All right. That's saved. Let's push the. Oh. Oh, you ran this locally. Nice. That was clever. That's
Oh,
how you
yeah.
found. I was like, how did you find that so fast?
Sneaky.
Yeah. That's a good tip.
So I mean, there's sort of some weird thing happening here where like we're using Gunicorn as HTTP server, and that has to go and load our user code. And if there's a syntax error or something that happens in there,
Then you're just.
we don't get that stack traces quite as nicely because Gunicorn's like got a bunch of stuff to read in down at the WSGI app. So,
Yeah. And just as a FYI, now that we added that git ignore, thanks Guillaume for that tip, our upload was 10 times smaller. It's 2 megabytes.
Nice.
So that got shot off right away.
Yeah, so Gcloud usually sticks some stuff in a Gcloud ignore, and I guess that inherits from git ignore, not the other way around. So I wouldn't really say it was here.
So this is up. Let's see if it's actually working. It's not working. Okay. All right. Choose file. We got our puppy. We're gonna open it. We're gonna submit it. We're gonna get an internal error. And I mean, this is how it goes, right? Like, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Playback. Service.
So we got a much better error now because we're not doing
service not defined. This is the downside of not having it set up for local auth. All right, so service.projects is not.
Well, we just
what?
We copied and pasted too much. It's we called it ML up here, but it's service
got
here.
Burned. Yeah, should have installed that Python linter after all.
Yeah, I like to call this client, but I mean, I don't really. I think it's at the end of the day, that's what it actually is.
Yeah.
But it's like service works.
I'm worried now that holdover code was being used, and once we remove it, it's gonna. Okay, no, it's fine. That it was gonna. Yeah, why not try to run locally first? Staren asks. It is a fair point. We try to save ourselves from short-term pain of fixing or figuring out auth by downloading the service account key, and now we're paying for it with long-term pain by having to debug with this overhead. So potentially while we wait for these uploads to happen, we can like incrementally make progress on figuring out the service account and key download process. I mean, it's not that bad. I've done it plenty of times. All right, now we got to deploy it.
The other thing is like we don't really have a great way to provide the service account to our application in the same way that it would be in Cloud
really?
Run. So like we'd have to add
like the way it's
sure.
set up. Like, oh, interesting. Is there not like a Cloud Run local runner kind of thing? You know what I mean? So that you can like say, here's my service account key, gcloud run local or something like that, -- service account, pass the JSON key, and then it would like look similar to it. Staren, I hope you're listening.
Yeah, that'd be really nice. I don't know. Maybe someday we'll get that.
Yeah, and then for those who are watching, Staren is the Cloud Run product manager, so that's why we're giving a little ribbon there. But if you have questions about Cloud Run, there's probably no better time, no better person to ask it. All right.
Yeah, just stay tuned. Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
stay. You won't see it in this
No,
live stream,
definitely
but
not.
someday. Maybe.
That would be some. All right, new trace call last. All right, here's one. No, that's not it.
Yeah, it's that middle one
It's the
there.
middle one.
Yeah, our HTTP 400.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't think it's called ML anymore. I'm worried that the docs are out of date.
Oh, you think the actual? So I think. Oh, what is happening? Yeah, so
Oh,
is our
expecting
API
instances to
version
be a list / array. No. This isn't because 400 is not the access denied. It's let's do HTTP 400 define bad request. It's a badly formed request. That's not
So are we using the wrong version
no
of the
no
API,
no.
or
It's
are we?
this is what I meant when I was saying that like the request structure, this JSON is just the worst, for lack of a better statement. So when you do images, I think, don't quote me on this, I don't think you have to wrap it in anything. Why that's the case? Well,
Oh wait, what?
so you see how here
was
in the
that
image
before?
bytes it's image bytes and then we take it to JSON, right? So when it's in JSON, I think we have it open here in the local version, right? This is a JSON object. Yeah, and so, oh, you want to wrap it in brackets? All right, fine, we'll wrap it in brackets. That's fair. That's the other thing. I think if you don't have any, you can get away with just having it straight up and dropping the instances keyword. But Guillaume is also right in that we can also just wrap instances in bracket. It's looking for instances, plural, right? And so it wants to, it's basically indexing it, right? It's saying, you know, at 0, at 1, for what in instances, and it couldn't enumerate. And so it wasn't iterable. Oh, are you running it?
I think. Well, I can't. My editor gets
All right,
really weird when I
I'll
try
paste
to
the whole thing in.
page
Yeah,
up. So.
I'll paste the whole thing in.
Yeah.
Because I can paste both commands in at once, and it'll just roll right into each other. Really, we should probably throw this into a bash script. Let's do that while we're waiting.
Yeah, that's what I do. Locally, that's what I just have a bash script that like enables all the APIs and all that stuff,
Nice.
sets billing up, all that
It's
stuff.
billing up?
So,
Nice.
yeah. It adds my my magical Google billing account that lets me do whatever I want, which is nice.
All right, build and deploy.sh, hash bang. That's right. You can perform several predictions, even though this is considered online predictions, and there's batch predictions, which is not this. So you can do multiple predictions in online predictions, and that's different from batch predictions.
That's a little confusing.
What is it? Hash bang, bin bash, then the thing, save, chmod, build, deploy that user plus execute. Oh, sorry, I did that wrong. Chmod user plus execute there, and so now that should work. This is deployed. Let's go back to this. Rerun the home page. All right. All right. The errors continue, and we'll keep.
So at this point, we probably should have set up our service account.
Probably.
Would have saved us a little bit of time, maybe.
Yeah. Which I wish it was in the order that it came in. The view function did not return a valid response. That looks new to me.
Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, what are we returning?
The return type must be a blah blah blah. Yeah, I think I just put a random return in there, so that's probably on me.
So I guess that the prediction request gives us a list. Oh yeah, because it's that. What was the original data structure you were showing me with the 203?
Yeah, but that's not the actual
numbers?
response. So if you want to see what the actual response looks like, well, if only the docs would tell us, right? But where is it? Getting online predictions. It comes back as a funky object. You know, can we just stringify it? Can we like toString it?
Oh
Let's
yeah,
just do that
yeah,
for
definitely.
now, while we figure out the
Actually,
local prediction problem.
Yeah, let's do that.
And what happens if I like,
Nothing.
you know, those print statements that I had before? Where do those show up?
Yeah, they'll show up in
Because I want to confirm
the
that we're able
logs.
to get these requests, but like, because I want to confirm that that server backend call to AI platform predictions worked.
I mean, if we're getting a response from it,
Well,
that's
yeah, because I
not
think I also included,
an HTTP error.
because I think I have, did I not include code? Yeah, it does. I am printing the response. So I want to see that response in the logs, mostly to see the structure of it so we can index into it properly. Where is...
So you got navigate to the Cloud Run.
Yeah, I've been in error reporting so long that I lost track of where I was. Okay, so this is the thingy. Logs. Make this bigger. I should have done your trick with the stars. Okay, so this is this more recent or less recent? Oh no, this is... Oh, the logs are backwards on this.
No, they'll be well. The bottom will
Yeah,
be.
that's what I mean. They're
the
backwards relative to
Yeah.
most of the cloud logging stuff, but they're correct for most of the, you know, normal logging infrastructure out there. Cloud Run Replace service. Accepting instances. Accepting? You mean expecting? Instances. There's a typo in the error statement.
Oh, yeah, there is. That's fun.
Like, what is that even from?
All right, well, two bugs we
Yeah,
found
I
so
mean,
far.
but that's an
not
error in Flask, isn't it? No, it's not. It's in the
I'm not
service.
safe,
It's in
yeah.
the service. It's expecting the list. You know, right? That's good. No problem about service account. Yeah, service accounts usually work, so I'm hopeful. So this is the error where we gave the wrong thing. Then we redeployed a new one, and then we made another request, and then we have an error. So it should be somewhere in here, right?
So I guess it's possible that since we're just printing, that we might not be getting. We might need to actually like use a logger and log out. But yeah, I don't know actually.
Okay.
But I think let's kick off another deploy, stringify our result.
Mhm.
We should get something.
Yeah.
back.
Did you already stringify the result or not yet?
I did. Yeah. I cast it to a string.
Just a hard cast, huh? Well, worst case, we just get a type back, which, you know.
Yeah, I mean, what it said was a list, so we'll get a.
So now
Get
that it's a script, you should be able to run this as well. Build _ deploy.sh. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Meanwhile, I'm
We'll do that
gonna
next
follow the guide for. Open the Stackdriver page. Man, Guillaume just knows everything here.
Yeah.
You deployed with a
You're
default
not kidding.
Cloud Run service account equal to compute engine, which has editor role in the project. Open Stackdriver page for logs. More detail. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, he's right.
Crushing it. Logging. Logs viewer. Yeah, this is what I meant earlier when I was saying the logs I'm used to seeing are over like this.
Yeah. That's what they are from most stuff.
All right. We gotta. Where is the... See, this is the thing. I wish there was a way that Cloud Run would just link to it.
Yeah. There's a Cloud Run revision, and then we can select.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
Why are there so many, and which one is ours?
So that's every deploy.
Is this ours?
That's the latest.
I wonder
one, yeah. We could also just select all of them, and we'd only get the
error detected in
whichever
versions.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Traceback. The view did not return a valid response. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the right version. It's the right error. And I wish this could be smaller. Oh, come on. Be smaller. Oh, yeah, it's this one. Okay. I'm going to make this wider even though it's off camera for a moment here so we can see more of it. But it doesn't look like... I mean, this is starting.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Error in post. This is the get, right? So somewhere between the get and the post should be the... Or before the post error should be what we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Blast. All right. I think the highest yield thing I could be doing, well, could be any number of things. Oh, did our build finish?
Yeah,
Okay.
it did.
Oh, but because I have the image, I have to run this. Because I was going to say, one of us should start working on this service account nonsense, or at least finding the page.
I can run it.
Because it was in one of those guides. Oh, look at this. It's a thing.
There we go.
That's right. No, that's right. So here's our classes. At the very bottom, can you see that on the live screen?
Classes
Yeah.
208. Okay, so that's what it classified it as.
And
oh, so now we need that text file somewhere.
yeah. Let's figure out how to index into it first, right? Because like we've basically proven that we did the thing at a high level. Now we just have to make it look good.
Yeah.
It is an array, so we have to with one element. So we have to index into the array, and then it's a dictionary. So I think what it would look like is something like result at 0 at classes, and that would give you an int. This is the int key.
Yep.
And then we need that text file, which is it's this URL, and we want to wrap it up in this deployment, I assume. So you'd want to add it to the Docker file so it gets copied over, and then we can pull it out and load it into memory.
I mean, yeah, there's a couple of things we could do here. We could just copy and paste it into a local file. I mean, ideally, like the simplest thing is if we just turn that list into a Python list, and then we can just index in that list.
But how do you want to turn it into a Python list? Do you want, like, you have to pull that content from like somewhere, right? Are you suggesting that we just have it in the source code because it's 1,000 elements?
I mean, that's
all right. So you're saying we can just make a Python script that we just import?
Yeah. We'll just make a little Python script file.
Okay, as opposed to a text file that we load in via Python.
We're doing it cheap and dirty.
That is very cheap and dirty, man. That's pretty funny.
It's gonna be loaded once on load, which is not, faster than maybe reading it off a disk out of a file. When we need to make the
call
request.
this classes.py, and I'm gonna go over here, copy this whole thing. You know we're gonna have to add commas after all of them, right? This is why reading the text file might have been a smarter move.
I mean, I know how to do this in VI, but can you do it in VS Code? Just like, insert a quote at the beginning, quote comma at the end, and
because you see, there's also quote escape problem, like yellow labby slipper with a single quote. So all those have to be escaped as well. To open it again. Right. I didn't save it. Go for it. You can run VI again. Let's watch Dustin crush it with VI.
Oh, why is it? Hold on. All right, no pressure. Yeah.
Oh.
Boom.
All right, we got the starting quote.
Actually, like maybe a better way to do this would be toilet tissue. I thought it said toilet issue. I was like, what is a toilet issue? So replace end of line with.
There's some quarantine joke about toilet paper in there, but wow.
That didn't work right though.
Oh.
What happened?
Where did it not work right? It looks, at least initially, these look pretty decent to me.
I think it may just be my the way it's rendering. Does that look right?
Hit Control Control L to re-render the Vim.
Good call. Yeah. All right, so do this.
Oh wow, you're even gonna format it.
Sorry, the editor, the UI is really funky.
Control L.
Yeah, I'll just have to put a closing bracket at the end of that, and we'll be done.
And it looks like the only, they're all single quotes. So using a double quote was a clever move to get around that problem. All right, save and quit. All right, we need to import that file, classes.py, at the top of our thing, which you already did. From classes, import classes. And then it's just what? We can just index into classes at the position?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Where is our thing? I lost track of our, there's the method. Classifier index, classes at classifier index. That's the result, basically.
Yeah.
All right.
That'll be a string.
What we can do is just for fun, right? This is.
Well, we can have it. Yeah, you can do that. Go for it.
No, we just got a big number at the end, or a big word.
It looks good to me.
Ship it. And we did it all without getting server's account set up. It's not main.py, it's app.py. Are you want to test it real quick?
Make sure not any syntax errors.
Okay, good enough to me.
Yeah,
it looks right to me. Oh, so hacky.
That's all right. I mean, it's quick local iterative development, and
not so local maybe, in the cloud in development.
I mean, yeah, there's lots we could do here to make this better, right? Like, we're just trying to get it working. We got 3 minutes till the end of the live stream. So.
I know, but like we mostly got it there. That's the part that is really awesome in my mind, is assuming that I did the correct indexing here, that when we stringified it, it was a true representation, that the type was what we thought it was. Creating revision, routing traffic, deploying. Well, while this is going, for folks on the live stream, thank you so much for staying. For those of you who are here the whole 2 hours, that's amazing. And we'll be back next week with more building out this kind of ML production pipeline that we've been kind of service unavailable. Let's try again. Trying to put together. I'm guessing it's still just like getting the instance spun up, unless something catastrophic has happened. All right.
It's possible we have some sort of error.
Oh, yeah, I know what the error is. We didn't modify the Docker.
Oh, really?
We didn't modify the Docker file.
Oh
no, that should work. It's copied the whole directory.
Yeah, it should copy.
All right. Let me see what errors. What's in logging then? Come on. All revision names. Yeah, and in the description below the video, there's a link to the meetup that this is kind of tied to. That's where we'll be announcing this and other kind of GCP DevRel events. Let me just hit play so it goes to the top. Yeah, and I'm streaming Monday, Wednesday, Friday, same time, 3 p.m. Worker failed to boot. Here's the error. It's the import. Module from .classes import classes, attempted relative import with no known parent package.
Yeah, I snuck a period in there by mistake.
Oh, that was a mistake. I thought you did that on purpose.
Yeah, well, I did it on purpose, but it was a mistake.
You did it on purpose.
I can never remember that right. But I already kicked off a new deploy and fixed it, so.
I see you didn't save your HTML index changes yet.
I didn't, because I'm not done yet. I'm trying to sneak some stuff in here.
That's funny. I think that might be the quote of the live stream is I didn't, because I did it on purpose, but I made a mistake. All right, so now it's out, and the drama of service deployments. I feel like we need music, for the final 10 minutes to. All right, at least the page loads now. I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna click submit. Fingers crossed. Ba-bum! Golden retriever. Hey. Yeah, this is the lowest tech HTML page that money can buy. A giant H1. You know, I should try another image, like that greenhouse situation that I had, because I also have the URL for that. And if anyone wants to drop in some other images from the web, we can try those as well while we're sitting here. You're you're gonna deploy something else? Yeah, go ahead, deploy something else, because I'm just dropping images in, which is not a high priority thing, and it doesn't need to be rolled into it anyway.
Yeah, I think I figured out how to render the image after we do the thing. So
cool. All right, I'm gonna curl down a flower image that I was messing around with earlier, and we'll go back to our service, which hasn't finished deploying yet, so we should be able to still use the old version, which will give us a giant greenhouse for our tulip. But it doesn't show the image, which is funny, which I think is what you were trying to fix. If my glance at the HTML page earlier proved any luck. So this was the puppy we were doing over here, and the flower I just sent up that gave a reaction of greenhouse is that. I guess it's not entirely off base. It's not just like a lone flower on a white background. It is kind of a field of flowers.
It might be inside. It might be inside.
For all we know, it may well be. Let me go to that index HTML. What did you end up sending up? Well,
all right. So I added this little conditional here. Yeah, it's there's an error, so it's not going to work. But I forgot to save the that file.
Thanks. That's good. Wow, look at this. You got templating. If result, it's a result, and then you're doing the base64 image. Are we returning that somehow?
So this is in the template. So I modified the
source,
the endpoint. Now it's going to render a template after we post the image, and pass the result and the base64 image in.
Okay, so you have.
It's kind of nice that we already have this base64 image. We
can
just display.
Yeah, because initially that's what we built, a service that base64 encodes your image and nothing else.
Yeah, when we pivot off of image classification, we'll just go back to back to our roots. It's a. What's up? I gotta say the Cloud Run deploy is really fast. Like it almost makes me think I don't need local development because it's pretty quick, especially when you're building in Cloud Build, not locally. It's fast.
I wonder how that changes as kind of a services kind of web app gets bigger, right? Because on one hand, a bigger thing will take longer to build locally and stuff, right?
That's true.
And so it's like, well, then I wouldn't want to run it locally. But then as things get, because I was thinking like ours is small, and so it's like it's lightweight. Oh no, the image, it's sad.
Yeah.
But I like that we can add more things. That's really nice. Fail to load invalid URL. There's our mouse over. Can you see that hover text? I can read.
Yeah, that should.
Data image PNG base64. Why is it base64 comma? Oh, you know what it is? You didn't index into it. It's image bytes b64. You just want the string.
Yeah.
Image bytes b64. So what is that here? Image bytes. Does that look right to you?
Yeah.
Is it looking for a string?
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'm going to new line that to make it a little more readable. Cool. Save. Everything is saved. And deploy. Oh, you did sh deploy.sh. Nice. I was just running it straight up. I was just doing / because I added the execute connection on it.
Yeah, I didn't see you do that. Oh, actually, I'm wondering, like, I don't know how this works. Like, this is a JPEG in our HTML file. I'm telling it it's a
PNG
image PNG.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's gonna have a good time. Well, you know what I can do though is let me see if I can find us a PNG. Worst case,
Oh, yeah, there you go. Wait, but doesn't our classifier only take JPEGs?
Oh yeah, good stuff.
That's for V2. PNGs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it.
Can you just put, is it,
Maybe
can
that's
you
just
just
how.
put JPG here and we'll push it again for the next version?
I mean, that's the mine type for a
Oh, okay.
JPEG, but
So seave that.
or JPE.
Is it E? That's what I wasn't sure about. Okay, the new version is up. Don't push it just yet. Let's see what we get here. I am
All right.
curious.
Yeah, me too.
All right, it's taking its time. We have the services up. We're gonna pick our puppy again, and I'm gonna hit submit. Hey, it doesn't care. It doesn't care. PNG, it's all good. If we do the flower, we submit that. It's going. It's a greenhouse. Oh, nice. Wow. So firstly, it's great to see that the service works, right? In terms of like AI platform and all that it's doing its job.
Yeah.
That's a relief, and we got a service in front of it, and it scales, and hopefully, folks on the air are able to, hit this URL and go there and. I mean, this is what ResNet 50 predicts. This is out of the box. Get some images up there. If you have a really big image, I think the limit is 1.5 megs or something. It will crap out on you. So downscale that a bit if you want it to be good. Because I tried it with some like photos from my phone and stuff, and that was a bad time. Because that's like a 6, 7, 8 megabyte image, and it's like nope. And that's a limit on not the model, but on the service itself. The prediction payload can only be a certain size. That's my understanding, at least. I might check with Robbie and see if he agrees.
We did some cool stuff here too, though. We didn't do any file I/O, so like we're not writing out any files, or reading any files. So that's kind of nice because like this image is just getting passed around and re-rendered. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is a good spot. And like with all these connective tissue pieces in place, I'll take some time and clean things up a little bit, but this is the starting point basically now. We have a web app that is tied to pieces of this project in the backend. And now as I build out this larger infrastructure, my plan is to continue developing this website basically and extending its functionality beyond making predictions, but I also want to be able to visualize like the training progress, the machines that are being utilized right now and things like that. And so like basically a visualizer for the metadata of what's going on behind the scenes.
Like which model is this even using?
We have no idea exactly. So a lot of this hard-coded stuff, I want to surface all of that. And so I'm excited to kind of go on this journey. So with that, I think we'll wrap it out here. Let me switch our view back to just the two of us. I want to thank you, Dustin, for joining me today. It's been a lot of fun. Sure. I've learned a ton of stuff. I'm really happy to have this kind of set up, as well as getting this pseudo guide, if you want to call it a guide, to both what to do and what not to do out there for the folks. And
I think we did mostly what to do. A little bit of what not to do. Yeah.
And still, it's still debatable whether or not we should, do we get the service account key loaded? Do we not? I'll probably get it loaded at some point down the road. For those who are watching, I don't know, a month from now, feel free to drop some comments down below. Let me know what you thought. Other topics you'd like to see covered, feel free to use the live chat for the folks who are live right now. And anything else you wanted to cover today, Dustin? Dustin's on Twitter at @DI_codes. And, if you have questions about Cloud Run, Python, everything serverless, hit him up.
Yeah, hit me up. Happy to help.
All right.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right, we'll close it out here then.
And thanks for watching, everybody.
Bye.